I am Umaru San. I'm going to bring the microphone to the audience, even though I had a question. In fact, there's a general question, Bernard, I want to throw to your panelists. I interviewed Dr. Marcus Ibeyebua. He understands our economy very well. And he said there is a role of luck in what we are seeing now. So there's good luck happening, the price of oil, the price of commodities and all of that. If that good luck leaves, what happens? Because there's this refrain that, oh, Kufuor in his first year did great. Mahama or Mills, first year did great. So first years are always good. Akufo-Addo's first year was great, but things will go bad. Would things go bad in the second and third year? That's something I want to know from you. But let me come to this audience. So my now for you, and of course, City University for here. You've been listening all morning. Submissions that you think that's what is the microphone, so you make that submission. If you can ask to a comment, please, let's hear from you now. So just microphone to you. Yes, starting with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so just introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm Mami Efia Owusu from Academic City University. And I have more of a question. When
Yes, proceed.
Boateng was speaking, in one of the graphs, he showed that even though employment increased in the past year, it mainly favored those who are older or those who are not within the ages of 15 to 24. And so I have been trying to juxtapose that with the National Pension Regulatory Authority's decision or motion somewhere last year to increase the age of retirement from 60 to 65. And so from the economic standpoint, how is this going to benefit the country? And in the next 3 years, what would you suggest to be the best way to go? And then lastly, you know, sometimes it's easy to say, oh, this is the government's responsibility. Oh, this is for the government. But where do we draw the line between our responsibility and the government's responsibility? Thank you.
Thank you so much from Academic City University. So, Prof, that's a question for you. And I always remember the comment Bernard says that you have said what you cannot measure, you cannot deal with. This one, you can measure it. So I look forward to your answers. Let me take my next question from that aisle. Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. My name is Odro Persla Ama, a student of Unimac IG, and my question goes to Prof. So just like in his graph, he said it doesn't favor from 15 to 24 years because he gave a reason, and then he said because the job market seeks for people with experience. So how are we going to help between 15 to 24 years since they are looking for experience? And also my next question is, could there be something done in our basic institutions, basic schools, so that right from a very young age, we train up the child to pick up the pace in the job market, since the job markets look for experienced people? Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I see that the questions are coming interested in youth employment or unemployment because they're just coming out of university very soon. So they want to know where the jobs would be coming from. Very, very important and brilliant question. Let me go in and take my next question from the right aisle. So please kindly introduce yourself and your submission.
Okay, thank you very much to City FM or ChannelOne. I'm the person of Abdul Latif Usman Chibu, a student from Academic City University, a level 300 electrical and electronic engineering student, a young youth who is aspiring to contest as a member of parliament in 2028. Thank you very much.
Which constituency?
And okay, this is a very hidden thing that I can't reveal right now. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much.
This was a campaign launch pad for you, but you don't want it, so
yes,
you proceed.
Yes. So thank you very much. As a youth who is advocating for development, I want to focus on what Daddy was saying. This is a very, very good submission that he said. Why are we all saying that agriculture, everything agriculture? You said you've reduced but I suffered to buy fertilizer of 600, 500, and after everything, I came and you are telling me that to sell my maize 200 cedis. So people were saying that maize was out. People were buying it, but now maize 200, no one can buy it. What is happening in the economy? Let's go back to our Galamsey. You are fighting against Galamsey where there's no job for the youth. I'm seated there, I don't have anything to eat, and you are telling me that I should stop what I'm doing. I suffered, my father suffered to sell all his kettles for me to go to school. After that, there's no employment. Where should I go? So I'm asking. They are talking about infrastructure. Look at the traffic system in the country. What are they doing about the traffic system? Education. We are putting agric students inside classrooms where there are lots of lands for them to go and weed. This is where at least 90% of their classrooms should be on the field. But we've kept all these agric students inside the class, teaching them something which will never help the country. Okay. Let's say after graduation, what are they going to do? Some agric students, they can't even plow a mold of yam. They also want white-collar jobs after graduation. Where are the jobs? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we are talking about Mahama's 1 year. We are assessing to see what he's got right, what he's getting wrong, and what we should do moving forward so that we see progress. Of course, what you have said is in a bigger national picture of challenges that we have as a nation. So I'm sure we'll be getting reactions to that from my panelists. Let me take the next question or comment.
Okay, I am Mohammed Yassin Abdul Wahab, second-year student, currently studying electrical engineering at University. Okay, I have quite a couple of questions. Okay, first of them is some countries have long-serving presidents. This notion, it's quite becoming popular that Mahama should be allowed.
Can you lift up your microphone a bit? Yes, so we can hear you.
In a popular opinion that the president should be allowed to run for a third term or till he thinks he's okay to step down. And why do you think some groups are kicking against this idea if we clearly see that some countries like China, who are doing very well, their presidents in Russia, their presidents have been in power for quite a number of years? And also, my next question is, why isn't the education sector adjusting to the pace at which the world is moving right now? Because when you look at the basic school level, especially when you go to the IT side, with the advent of AI and all that, you go to basic school level, and all they are teaching them is right click, left click, and I feel most of what they know, when it comes to IT, it's not being taught in school. But actually, they are taught what they don't need, if I may put it that way. Okay. And also, my next question is:
can that be your last question?
Okay,
okay.
Okay, let me look through the questions. Okay. There has been indicators that actually the economy is doing well, but someone on the outside will say, I'm not actually feeling it in my pocket, because you see someone who say, oh, the dollar is 10 cedis, the dollar is this, the dollar is that. But you go to a shop to buy rice, you go to shop A, the price of rice is, let's say, 10 cedis. You go to shop B, the price of rice is 15 cedis. If all these indicators are showing that the economy is doing very well, why isn't it reflecting?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I think questions for Mariada. I think Professor Doti has something in there. And Prof. Canton, on the cost of food produce in the farm and also in the market centers, what's the disconnect? My brother, please go ahead.
Papa Kwesi from Academic City. I'm an IT student. And he touched on one of the questions that I wanted to ask. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of La Paz. So I remember we did an outreach in one of the regions, is it Volta region or something? And sadly, we had to park our car and walk about 3 kilometers to the community we're going to. And so, funny enough, the children in the community have never seen a monitor before. So I spent like a week there to analyze how the teachers teach some of these things. So the teacher has to draw a whole setup of a computer. You draw a mouse. The mouse was actually stones, designed nice stones with something. So for something like this, I feel like the way Rotract and Lions and other clubs do, I feel like the government should step in to, kind of reduce taxes when we import some of these things that we give to rural areas. And I also feel like for agriculture, that's to you, I feel like Ghana should move from this cocoa all the time to cotton, like what he was saying. Like cotton, it should be like moving from cocoa to cotton, coconut, and cashew, so that we can like diversify how we export our finished. And we should also look at a way to like manufacture, produce and manufacture our own things.
Cocoa to coconut.
Thank you so much. Now let me take my last two questions from the in-house audience, and then we can take it back to the panelists. Yes.
Okay, I'm Nisetre. My question goes to Doc. That was a brilliant discussion on the environment. I would want to ask a question pertaining to what you talked about, the fight against Galamsey. I grew up in a Galamsey community, and as somebody who grew up there, I want to ask whether you do not think that the current mode of the fight is fighting the symptom rather than the cause. Because we all know the people in the community, when you go, everybody knows who owns the concessions. Everybody who knows the young men who are hungry, just as you said, that it's a poverty-driven issue, and who just go there to go and get some 100 cedis or 200 cedis a day. So instead of fighting the young men who are hungry, why don't you go after these big men, some of who are businessmen, politicians, politically connected people? And then if we're able to stop it from that point, do you not think it will be an easier fight instead of going after these young men, imprisoning them, beating them up? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just pass the microphone on. Yes.
Please, my name is Linda from Unimac IG. On environment, I think the government is doing well. He has made efforts on the environment. I think with environmental issues, it's very complex, and then it requires very extensive,
approach.
Yeah, approach. So the government needs to do something about it. It's not just being in the policy. I think they need enforcement and then citizen participation also. Okay. Then my question is, it seems the housing policy and then support is always on University of Ghana. Could it be done about the housing support on Unimac IJ? Because we really need housing support.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm personally interested in this question because when I went to GIJ, we were told we have a new campus at Jolo. It took 100 years before that campus was eventually put up. And so hostels for the school, I mean, yes. But Legon itself, they have their own challenge with accommodation and all of that. So we've seen the announcements and also the increase in levies and all of that. So it's interesting. But Bernard, so my audience here, you've heard them. Mm-hmm. We are part of what you are doing. We are supporting you. We are excited. And these are the questions and comments we have from here. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Back to you, Bernard Avle, and your panel.
Thank you, Sanda. It's quite interesting, unemployment because of the age profile. So the issue about the economy doing well on paper, translating, is very big there. So clearly, the young people have a different view of what sometimes we discuss, which is why it's very important we brought them. That the reality on the ground for those who don't have voice is that they can only interpret all your numbers from their pocket and whether they have opportunity. So I think the students have, I'm not even sure these questions you can answer them. They are more around the government and how it thinks about what it does, all right? But of course, you can comment on them as you wrap up. But I really want to appreciate your questions because the government is listening, and a lot of times we, the people in the media, we only focus on the hard numbers, we report macro stability, inflation, blah, 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 and we assess them based on our own metrics. But where the rubber meets the road is, can I get food to eat? Will I get accommodation? Will I get a job? You know, those are the key points. So what I want to do is, we have just 15 minutes, Sandra. So I'm going to lace your answer to your closing remark. So I'm just going to one round. So when you comment on what touches you in the question, you also close there. All right? Since a lot of the questions came to Prof, I'll start with you. And then from there, I'll move around the panel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I'll start with Umaru's question from Mark Esibe-Yeboah. I mean, in my presentation, I started by, when I was giving reasons why we have this stability and appreciation, I spoke about good prices of cocoa and gold. So that is something that has helped us. And it will not be there forever. That gives opportunity for government to come up with strategies such that if there was any shock, especially when the prices of these commodities go down, we will not find ourselves wanting. So it is up to government to make sure that it diversify its export proceeds, so that it will not only be gold and cocoa and perhaps oil, but will go into other areas, especially manufactured exports, especially looking at adding values to our agri products, so that at least when the downside comes, we will have a place to escape. So that is an answer to that. The other one is we are not feeling it in our pockets. Yes, this comes up almost all the time. Inflation talks about movement of prices, general price, every good and services. So even though we have inflation coming down, it doesn't mean that prices of goods and services are coming down. No. It is about the rate at which prices are going up. So for instance, we have inflation at 5.4%. So it means that in December 2024, if we bought something at 100 cedis, then in 2025 December, it is 105 cedis, 40 pesos. That is what it means. So if inflation is 50%, it means that it will be 150. So the rate at which prices are going up is what inflation is talking about. But we consider all prices across the country. So whilst we will be concerned about the fact that prices are still high in Accra, when you go to Kumasi, you go to Takrady, you go to my village, you will see that prices will not be as much as that. So, but we've put everything together to give an indication as to how the price movement is going. So we are not saying that when inflation is coming down, it means that everything is good. It means that some people will be happy, some people will not be happy, depending on the commodity that you purchase. So you may be purchasing goods that are in the malls and also boutique. If the prices are still high, it doesn't mean that when you go to the village and you are buying maize, and we spoke about maize price at 250. So maize prices have come down, and then we also have others staying the same. So it is an indicator or indicative of how prices are moving. The other one, which comes to the youth issue, is very, very important. And if we need to have a whole program to be able to address that. Now, I started by saying that if you leave the private sector, if you yourself is employing somebody to do some work for you, because you want to get profit, you will go for the one who is more experienced. So if you don't have the experience, it becomes very difficult for you to get there. And because we are talking about the job market, which is more like demand and supply, if you don't have the skills, which includes the experience, and experience doesn't mean working for a long time. Experience also means what you have acquired. And therefore, how do you position yourself to be able to take advantage? I always advise my students that don't remain jobless for a long time. When you are applying, they will say, what have you been doing over the past 3 years? So even volunteerism is something that students should be able to pick it up. For example, when school is on recess, long vacation, do you take advantage and see if we can find something for yourself? If you can approach, and this is one particular example I give, which is a low-hanging fruit. You are in the university, you are in level 300 or level 400. You are very brilliant. School is not in session. Where you stay, have you looked at the area? How many children are in secondary school, JHS, class 1, and have done it before? And you say, you can approach and say, well, I'm not doing it, and can I help your child? I did it when I finished sixth form, and I was teaching. Not necessarily to get money, but I can tell you I didn't charge. But when I ended, I got more money than if I had charged. So, and I also gained experience. So volunteerism is something that I want to inculcate into the minds of students. And when you have your CV and you indicate what you have done, volunteerism, it tells the employer that this person has initiative. So if I employ him, even if I haven't asked the person to do 1 or 2, he knows what to do. That is for our case. But what government has to do is that government has to also come in to support the channel through which young people also get jobs and provide incentives for enterprises to be able to also get young people. And one thing also I want young people to also appreciate is that when you find Ben sitting there and moderating, it didn't start today. He was a student. Perhaps when he came to City, he was just running around and so on. You need to start somewhere. We call something reservation wage. Don't go to the interview and say, I want a car, I want this. You need to start somewhere and work your way up. And that is what young people have to take note of.
Thank you very much. We have 10 minutes and I have 5 more panelists. So everybody has not up to 2 minutes. So who's going to respond next? Environmentalist.
So, Nana writes, Kingsley, D, okay. I truly share your sentiment as well. I mean, with the issue of trying to, or asking the people to stop the Galamsey activity, obviously, you can't take people's livelihood from them. So I think earlier on in one of my submissions, I mentioned it would be good to provide sustainable alternative, livelihoods. And then also in addition to that, I think one of the causes of Galamsey has to do with the issue of ceding off large concession to these large mining companies. So people most often are left with, lands which are not viable for farming. So I think these are some of the things that the government needs to, look at when it comes to giving out concessions. And then also on the issue of going after the wrong people. You need to get a disclaimer, you get into trouble on that, yes. And I think I've repeated it over and over. I'm sounding like a broken record now. We need to institutionalize it. Government needs to give them the autonomy, okay? Such that whatever reform you put in place, it will be able to withstand all these, elite pressures and all that.
All right.
So we need to see some persecutions to direct that.
Thank you, Dr. Ikuya Odum. Let me come to Kofi Asare. Any comments, questions that you want to address?
It's true. Many schools don't have access to ICT facilities, even though computing is a compulsory subject, and digital skills is a core competency in our standard-based curriculum. Majority of our schools, only about 2% of our basic schools have functioning computer laboratories. So many have been drawing the things on the board and all that. It's a decision the government must take. The government somewhere in the manifesto promised to provide solar and all that. The reality is that without power, there can't be IC, there can't be computer facilities. And in deprived areas, many schools don't have access to electricity. So the two, come together. I want to see government give us a clear plan about how it intends to provide ICT facilities and renewable energy as much as practicable to schools in deprived areas. But my advice to the government in this year is that the government must focus more on budget credibility. We want to see much more expedited releases, because delayed releases impact negatively on policy outcomes. And so we want to see much more expedited releases for DACF, especially for GOG, so that policies as intended, are implemented.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kofi Asare. Let me come to Professor Canton. I'll do Mary, then I'll end with you, David.
I just wanted to add the education before I conclude. You see, I come from Chumu. I was at a school called Igala Primary. can't I give a laptop or a desktop to the school if even they don't even have power? Common sense, they can show them this is a keyboard, this is a... So we shouldn't say everything government. We can do better. Navrango Secondary School, go and see the fantastic job people are doing. Ajisadel and so can we trickle that down? Everything government, MP, politician, why?
The responsibility of the government to provide a learning environment for learning to take place.
But if it's
that's
not
why the
doing
government
that,
taxes
but if it
citizens.
is not doing that, or it hasn't the capacity, citizens can help. That's what I'm saying.
It has the capacity. We have to demand accountability from the government.
Yes, you can, but the two
Citizens
can
only
run
support,
parallel.
But it shouldn't be citizens' responsibility. It is the responsibility of
No,
the
but
government.
we can run that with them. So I have children. I can't take care of them.
But Prof, that's why David spoke about government should unleash the energies. In the example he gave around the private sector, he says, government, don't try and do it on your own, but create a framework.
Yes, so that people can...
Because if a company wants to get tax deduction for supporting CSR,
yes,
he won't give it for corruption. He won't give you the money so you go and overprice it. So create the framework so that if somebody wants to contribute, they can contribute in a meaningful way. So even the incentive to get a citizen to do it is still with government. I think David made that point. So I think that settles the debate. We are not saying citizens should not be involved, but create it so that a person has the incentive to do it so that he can track the money. Let me take your own submission because you have just a minute.
You mentioned fluctuating prices of goods. Very simple. Currently, as I talk, you have cheap food coming in from left and right, Burkina, the sea, and all that. Nobody's regulating that. And any time that food prices outside are higher and farmers want to export to India and other places, I mean, maize and soya beans, which they will buy out, send them outside, process them, and sell them back to at very high prices as poultry feed. Does that make sense? Then you see the minister get up and say that, oh, I've banned it. Meanwhile, we say we are liberal. You say it's open market. But anytime a farmer wants to enjoy, we are always, you don't, how will farmers get rich? Mera Woldana is going to Navrango, a poor woman is selling yams. She's bargaining very hard. But when you come to Accra Mall or China Mall or ONC, you don't bargain there. Meanwhile, it's the same price caution that they have also done. Does that make sense? No. So these are some of the issues that we have. Then also you talked about government, diversification. Yes. Go to Australia now, Indonesia. A lot of them now have gone into cocoa product, even China. Yes. So very soon we'll be priced out. And we are here, Cocoa Board, one of the most corrupt institutions. It has been there cyclical. No, every time there are problems, I'm not the one saying it's there.
So let's diversify to coconut, cashew.
So exactly,
and
cotton, the white gold.
Wonderful.
I think these things will help.
Thank you.
And lastly, on agricultural students not knowing crops and other things. Yes, there are even universities that are training graduates and they have no school farms. How can you train a medical doctor without a clinical? Tell me, you train a medical doctor, Kolibu, and you don't have clinicals for the students to learn.
You can't do that.
So we need to have set school farms, and then what my brother said.
Mary, I'll give you a minute, and I'll end with David 1 minute as well.
I just wanted to talk about the issue around tenure and tenure extensions.
Yeah.
We have limits within which we work. The Constitution is very explicit when it speaks to the fact that everyone who is elected as president can have another opportunity to be president, and so 2 tenure limits. The constitutional review process, even though they've heard it, it's not one of the recommendations. Whoever is proposing this, maybe my personal opinion on that, if you on this, is the fact that what we have now we should be content with, live with. We are not in Russia and we are not in China. Our dispensations are different. Our current architecture is modeled around the US and Britain. So why don't you also ask, why is it that in Britain somebody can be a prime minister for one day and then the next day he is removed? And in the US, which model we use and rely on very greatly is also 4 years. So why do you now want us to extend it? Unless and until there is, and that is an enshrined clause as well, which can be activated, but I believe that at this point, can you imagine if we had that type of architecture in the past where you saddle yourself with people perhaps who do not perform well, who are on your necks and you cannot breathe? I think we are best where we are now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give the last word to David. A minute.
One, I think we should learn to coordinate our thinking comprehensively.
What about
Just on the
education?
question of agric pricing, we need to solve the problem of whether we want a guaranteed minimum of price for farmers. Because a guaranteed minimum price can actually solve your inflation problem. Whether we want to introduce agric insurance, which we don't have, whether we want to spend money from government to create pack houses, warehouse product, etc. That's number one. Number two, we need to actually take right the moment. The world is changing, but we seem to be still thinking in the old ways. I hear people talk about AGOA. AGOA is ending. And meanwhile, China has offered $250 billion tariff-free trade. And even though Ministry of Trade is negotiating, I don't see a lot of encouragement for us to diversify exports and change that direction when AGOA is actually dropped to only 1.4% of trade across Africa. Lastly, let's remember the Bible story. 7 years of fat cow, 7 years of... It doesn't matter what, there will be turbulence. It will come either as a result of global financial crisis, COVID, I don't know how, but there will be turbulence. Now, how do you prevent that? That's the key charge of the government. We didn't create a sovereign wealth fund out of cocoa, nor timber. What has happened with gold board, in my view, this is the time to move from reserves of, in terms of, what do you call that feature? You are the prof, the import cover, to creating a wealth fund out of gold.
Thank you.
And I predict that gold price will remain high throughout this year, just because of what Trump is doing and the dollar itself being. So we have to create a conscious wealth fund when that turbulence comes. That's the only way.
For the 7 years of famine. A round of applause for the panel. So through the power of convening, Channel One and CTFM have brought you an enlightening conversation which has catalyzed action around governance, economy, environment, education, agriculture, and infrastructure with our 5 or 6 thematic area experts. We've been helped by students from UNIMAC IJ and the academic city. I've been assisted by Umaru Sanda Amadou to bring you this very enlightening conversation. A big thank you to the technical team for making this happen, and a big thank you to you for watching. There are a couple of comments I couldn't read, but we'll spread them on the social media platforms as well. Thank you so much for being part of the roundtable thematic assessment of 1 year of Mahama 2.0. Till we see you next time, my name is Bernard Avele. Have a fantastic afternoon. Bye-bye.